tonight. Nigeria makes a case for recovery of her stolen wealth. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment highlights 4-point agenda for sustainable development as House of Representatives continues sectoral debate of the Nigerian economy. And Nigeria states position on anti-corruption preparatory to the forthcoming World Anti-Corruption Summit in the United Kingdom. A very good evening and thanks for joining us on the NTA Network News for tonight. I am Fumi Wakama. Nigeria has solicited the support of the United Nations Office for Drug and Crime towards facilitating faster recovery of our stolen wealth stashed abroad. President Muhammadu Buhari made the request in an audience with the Executive Secretary of the UN Office, Mr. Yuri Vedetov. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
President Muhammadu Buhari has described as encouraging that the genuine efforts by his administration to deal with corruption and drugs have earned Nigeria international respect. He said by fighting the scourge of drugs and corruption, as well as rebuilding trustworthiness, integrity, and good business practices, Nigeria is not only doing a favor to herself, but also the international community. The president is, however, worried that the process of recovering the nation's stolen assets had become tedious and Nigerians are becoming impatient. This, he said, informed the resolve by the federal government to look for more cooperation from the European Union, United States, and other countries, as well as international institutions, in order to hasten the recovery process, especially proceeds from Nigeria's stolen crude oil. President Buhari promised to work with the UN agency towards rehabilitating young Nigerians who have been misled into consumption and trafficking of illicit drugs. The Executive Secretary of the UNODC, Mr. Yuri Vedetov, said the agency has selected Nigeria as a pilot country for support and strategic cooperation in the fight against drugs and corruption.
Nigeria indeed has a top priority for UNODC, and we're looking forward to continue working with you. I was very pleased at the meeting which has ended. His Excellency the President and other ministers expressed some specific points and suggestions, advices that are very important to us, so we could fine-tune our programs and projects to live up to your expectations.
Meanwhile, Governor Ben Ayade of Cross River State has briefed President Muhammadu Buhari on the ongoing superhighway and deep-sea port projects initiated by his administration to enhance the economic fortune of the state.
So we have reached a critical point of understanding. There's a clear harmony on the way forward. One thing that came clear was that it is only with the existence of this superhighway to northern Nigeria that will now make Nigeria take a full advantage of their solid mineral deposit. So it is ordinarily supposed to be a federal project which the state is carrying at the time that we're at its lowest ebb of income. And that's why I'm always in touch with Mr. President. And Mr. President is always ever willing to give me all the support that I need.
President Buhari performed the groundbreaking ceremony for the two projects in October 2015. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The federal government, along with various anti-corruption agencies and civil society organizations, have put together an anti-corruption framework which is to be presented at a World Anti-Corruption Summit built for London next week. The platform was the Nigeria Anti-Corruption Summit, which held in Abuja. Femi Okeowo was there and now reports.
On the 12th of May, a World Anti-Corruption Summit will begin in London. The Abuja Anti-Corruption Summit is therefore to set a national agenda for that summit, and indeed, the President himself will lead the delegation to that summit. Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, in a message to the summit, stressed that Nigeria's priority is building strong institutions that will help sustain the fight against corruption, lamenting that corruption has continued to be a main driver of poverty in Nigeria.
Analysis of corruption in Nigeria suggests that patronage culture has evolved around a powerful elite that is in control of oil revenues and would do anything to maintain the status quo.
Various other organizations spoke about the advantages the London summit will provide for Nigeria's fight against corruption.
Those of you who are going will be able to get enough ideas, information, and position, which will have an outcome that will have the greatest benefit for this country.
Fighting corruption requires the efforts of various governance institutions, including through the enforcement of existing anti-corruption laws, rules, and regulation.
We concentrate all our attention about fighting corruption at federal government level. We forget about the state. Without the states, where is Nigeria?
Resolutions from the Abuja Anti-Corruption Summit will be used to galvanize international support to recover Nigeria's stolen fund. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, says the federal government is working towards the implementation of the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan. This was part of the minister's presentation at the House of Representatives sectoral debate on the Nigerian economy. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The biggest economies of the world have been known to have well-developed industrial sector. That is why the House of Representatives invited the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, to brief members on how best to turn the industrial sector into Nigeria's biggest revenue earner. The minister explained that Nigeria is capable of joining the League of Nations with huge gross domestic product, GDP, from industrialization and trade if 4 major issues are addressed. He described them as the 4 pillars of diversification in the sector. They are creation of enabling environment for investors, implementation of Nigeria's Industrial Revolution Plan, government to champion the cause of small and medium-scale enterprise, SMEs, and the need for legislative intervention in the sector.
Manufacturing currently contributes only a tenth, 10% to our GDP, much lower than it does in other emerging market economies. Our industrialization ambition is hinged on the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan, which was launched by the previous government in 2014. It is now time to move from plan to action. It is now our duty to implement that plan in light of current realities.
The federal government, in collaboration with the state governments, will try to address certain infrastructural deficiencies.
So standardization has been a problem. We have a lot of retail chains coming into Nigeria, but we hardly have Nigerian-made goods being sold in those retail chains.
We need to be encouraging countries to come into Nigeria to produce so that we can export and earn forex.
What are we doing to improve the ease of doing business in Nigeria?
But the strength of this nation going forward must always rest on the SMEs. I believe that the goal of our democracy must be for the government to depend on the people and not vice versa.
The House adopted a motion to invite the Council of Legal Education and Board of Benchers to explain why law graduates of National Open University of Nigeria are not enrolled into the Nigerian law schools. That motion was moved by Representative Ayodele Oladimeji from Ekiti State. The House, in the Committee of the Whole, adopted the recommendations of the Ad hoc Committee on Investigation of the declaration by the Attorney General of the Federation that the Inspector General of Police should disregard the House resolution on the Kogi State Assembly takeover. One of the recommendations is that the Inspector General of Police should reseal the Kogi State House of Assembly complex, while the Attorney General should immediately withdraw his advice.
The committee made it clear that the Attorney General had erred, both factually on 2 grounds. First, there is no House rule. I will want to make this abundantly clear at this point. There is no House rule that states that any matter before a court cannot be discussed in the House.
The House also resolved that a Kogi State governor should send his 2016 budget to the National Assembly for consideration. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Still on the economy, the federal government has again restated its determination to ease the hardship Nigerians are facing. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, alongside some cabinet members, gave the assurance at a meeting with Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria in Abuja. Anthony Forsen reports.
At occasions like this, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed is better described as being at home. He, alongside Minister of Agriculture Audu Ogbe, Minister of Environment Amina Mohammed, and Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun, they reeled out the present administration's policy direction.
By working assiduously to diversify our economy away from oil, agriculture, solid minerals, culture and tourism are some of the sectors we are currently working to rejuvenate so that they can earn in revenues for the country and also create jobs.
Finance Minister, in her outlook of the Nigerian economy, said government is working towards a fiscal stability by diversifying non-oil earnings by 87%.
What is your capital, your power, your rail, your roads, your housing? Only 10 naira for every 100 we spend goes on those things. 90% goes on travel, training, food, printing. Those things do not grow the economy. And we have always known, and we've always been told that we were too dependent on oil, that if oil price should crash, we were going to be in trouble. We fundamentally believe that this change that people voted for, they don't want more of what we've been doing in the past. They want a different direction.
For environment, cleaning up Ogoni land is one of the present administration's priority.
The cleanup there, again, is an opportunity not just to clean up the pollution that was created by oil companies, but also to produce an alternative for that pollution in Ogoniland and in the Niger Delta, which we know is considerable.
On revamping agriculture, Audogbe said it has to be pursued with vigor.
Because this reckless policy of importation over a period has brought Nigeria down to near zero. What happened to cocoa? We were among the top leaders, top producers in the world. We are now number 3 in Africa, with Ivory Coast approaching 2 million tons and Nigeria battling with 250,000 tons. And yet cocoa can grow in 23 states. Rice can grow in virtually every state of this country. Move Nigeria back to where she was in cocoa in the next 4 years. Thank God our scientists in this country have discovered a breed of cocoa that yields in 18 months from the date of planting instead of 4 years.
The newspaper proprietors did not just listen to the minister's score sheets, they engaged the ministers in a question and answer session. Veteran journalist Ray Ekwu applauded the federal government.
I believe that from what has transpired here, the government is aware that the media people are ready to support this government to succeed.
This is the second time the minister is engaging the newspaper proprietors as part of deliberate efforts to foster closer relationship with government. In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
As you heard there, the Minister of Information and Culture, alongside some cabinet members at a meeting with Newspaper Proprietor Association of Nigeria in Lagos. The Senate adjourned sitting till next Thursday to enable senators from the People's Democratic Party attend their party state and ward congresses. National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Ali reports.
We received a letter from the minority, and that is PDP, that they are nationwide holding their ward and local government congresses.
That communication from the minority leader explained the empty seats on the side of the opposition in the Red Chamber. Consequently, the Senate leader Aliu Ndume moved the motion to stand down all items on the day's order paper and adjourn plenary until Thursday next week.
It has been the tradition of the National Assembly, or the Senate particularly, to always acknowledge the opposition party or minority party in case they have an event of like this.
Away from plenary, Senate President Bukola Saraki hosted the Czech Republic ambassador to Nigeria, Pavel Max, who informed Senate President of an agricultural and business delegation visiting Nigeria from his country next week. Bukola Saraki expressed happiness over the development, which he said is in line with Senate's drive to make Nigeria's business environment friendly to international investors. The Czech Republic ambassador to Nigeria, Pavel Max, said the agricultural and business delegation from his country would be exploring investment opportunities in agriculture and other areas of mutual interest to both countries. From the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali, NTA News.
The All Progressives Congress APC says it is prepared to learn from the Chinese experience to effectively tackle corruption. The national chairman, John Odijo Oyego, stated this when he received the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Hu Zhaojie. Ismail Musa has that report.
Within the last 45 years, Nigeria and China have established strategic diplomatic ties in different areas of mutual benefit. Commending the federal government for its giant stride in fighting corruption, which he said is currently redeeming the image of Nigeria in the Committee of Nations, the Chinese ambassador noted that the visit is an avenue to say farewell to Nigeria as an ambassador after working for 2 years.
My president appreciated the three policy initiatives like the anti-corruption, economic development, and also peace and stability. The Chinese government and the people, we are ready to work very closely with the people and government of Nigeria.
The Chinese Communist Party, he added, is ready to exchange ideas with the APC. The recent presidential visit to China, Oyegun said, will facilitate agricultural and infrastructural development of Nigeria.
We have a great respect for the People's Republic. If only to come and learn from you how you have managed to contain the menace of corruption.
Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, is charged wives of state governors to emulate green education initiative of the wife of the Ogun State governor, Mrs. Olufunso Amosu. Mrs. Buhari gave the charge at a symposium on green economy organized to commemorate the 50th birthday of the wife of the governor. Telecom reports.
The symposium with the theme, Greening the Economy, was in line with the Green Education for the Youth, one of the initiatives that highlighted the passion of the wife of the governor to the society and humanity. Top dignitaries across Nigeria and beyond came to celebrate the wife of the governor at 50. The wife of the president of Nigeria, Hajia Aisha Buhari, and joined her to take her advocacy program on green revolution to other states of the federation.
I would like to lead with her to take her advocacy on greening the economy to all the various states of Nigeria.
The keynote speaker, Dr. Ayode Olatubosun Alakija, and other discussants suggested the need to guide against environmental pollution, desertification, waste to wealth, tree planting, and maximizing the opportunities inherent in global climate issues as solutions to environmental challenges. The governor of Ogun State, Senator Ibikula Amosu, says the state will always welcome the people who will contribute to the development of the state. In Abuja, Telecom, NTA News.
110,000 women and girls are expected to be empowered through Information and Communication Technology (ITC) between 2014 and 2019. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday was at the first graduation ceremony where 7,500 graduated in non-formal education.
In a country where more or about 50% of the population is not educated, it means that they are almost excluded.
Statistics from the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, reveals that there are approximately 10.5 million out-of-school children in the world, with girls dominating the figure. And Nigeria accounts for about 47% of the population. To address this challenge, UNESCO and a development partner established the program, UNESCO Always Projects. Mrs. Buhari, who was represented by the wife of the Vice President, Dolapo Osinbajo, says the present administration will continue to support programs that will increase access to basic education, especially for the girl child and women.
These will improve their own lives and the lives of their families and the overall condition of life in their communities. They are able to make informed decisions about their future, and they're able to protect themselves from social vices.
Anta Ann is one of the 7,500 beneficiaries.
This time around, I can be able to read and write.
When you look at her, she knows what she's into. She'll be able to help in the economic of even her home.
The girls who dropped schools, at risk at dropping school, who had never had the chance to go to school, we need them to be educated.
Participants at the forum call on other private organizations to embrace the gesture. in complementing government's efforts.
With the empowerment of these over 7,000 women and girls, the question is not who will let me, but who will stop me. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
And still staying with the wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari has pledged to ensure that maternal and child death are reduced to the barest minimum in Nigeria. She made the remark at the 2016 International Day of Midwifery in Abuja. Murjanatu Adam Sahid reports.
The president of the Nigeria Association of Midwives and Nurses said approximately 830 women die from preventable causes related to pregnancy and childbirth every day, adding that 99% occurred in developing countries, including Nigeria.
Where you have a midwife working on minimum of 5 women in labor, there is no how she can cope. And there's limits to human endurance, especially in the place of work.
You know, she's a woman that believes in maternal welfare.
This group of experts attribute the maternal mortality rate to lack of qualified birth attendants and stress the need to employ retain qualified midwives and continuously increase investment in education and training of midwives.
We have an amazing profession. I am, for those tweeters, #proud to be a midwife.
To encourage government and development partners to invest more on the education and capacity building of midwives.
The midwife is a professional caregiver who saves life and promotes the health and well-being of women and newborn across the world. In Abuja, Murjanatu Adam Said, NTA News.
And we shall be eternally grateful to the midwives. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Abike Dabrierewa, has restated government's commitment to the diversification of the economy and the restitution of stolen funds abroad. Abike Dabrierewa said this at a meeting with members of the Association of Nigerian American Professionals in Nigeria. Gabriel Odu was there and reports.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President urged the association to bring to bear its wealth of experiences, skills and competencies to create jobs and impact on the lives of Nigerians.
We're talking about diversification. The reality is that we have to look beyond oil. It is just not there. And I think it's a blessing in disguise. And Mr. President is saying this is the time to bring out the best in us. This is time to think back.
The president of the association, Mazi Maloko, said the members are committed to global best practices in health, economy, and education.
Looking at the change agenda of Mr. President, I can see that he's really not just involved with anti-corruption crusade, but he's also driving programs that will bring the best skills from Diaspora to see how it can impact this nation.
Meanwhile, the head of the European Union delegation, Michel Arion, said renewed efforts to tackle irregular migration and forced displacement are being worked out.
I think a lot of irregular migrants can be legal migrants if we find the appropriate framework.
I believe from here there should be a lot of awareness programs, education programs to say know where you're going to before you go there.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President also gave assurance that government is working out strategies to create jobs and wealth in Nigeria. In Abuja, Gabriel Odu, NTA News.
Ahead on the news tonight, National Logistics Committee for Distribution of Perishable Items concludes first phase of its assignment. Details shortly.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
As the sun rises over the hills of Abuja, so too dawns a new way of life and exquisite standard of living. Enjoy your own originally designed and quality built home in the serene and secure environment of Sunrise Hills. Experience this uplifting lifestyle with breathtaking views of the city. Rise above. Sunrise Hills is unlike anything you've ever seen before. A new way of life is dawning in the heart of Nigeria.
Daily exposure to different environments leads to a buildup of germs, oil and dirt. These can cause blemishes and uneven skin tone. You need new Dettol Even Tone. It removes 99.9% of germs and is formulated to remove excess oil and dirt, helping to reduce the appearance of blemishes, giving your family the confidence of healthy, even-toned skin. For an even better you, new Dettol Even Tone.
Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Introducing the new Dettol 55-gram soap with the same germ protection and quality at a more affordable price. Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
Look at this. Why, Auntie? You know this property was left in my care. Will you shut up your stinking mouth?
Enough! Enough! What proof do you have that the house was left in your care?
Now Mama G go take care of this house. Look at
Let me see. You have seen her proof. What proof do you have?
Here's my proof. You stupid girl. What are you going to do with this? Watch me.
New Twin Bash. Simply dial *223 pin hash and see how as little as 100 naira can give you amazing benefits for free. 125 megabytes of ultra high-speed data worth 500 naira, which includes 25 megabytes to give someone. Plus 200 naira talk time to call all networks for free. No, why you?
Sister Equitosi.
Sister, waiting now.
Even brother same side. Brother side, no.
A lie, no be you get her.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
What happened? It was a mosquito. Oh! Daddy, here!
What's happening here?
Mama, mosquitoes.
I sprayed, but the mosquitoes aren't dying. No longer, because I've bought Motain Power Guard, which kills 100% mosquitoes. Motain Power Guard kills 100% mosquitoes.
The Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, will be hosting students from all Nigerian universities to a two-day interactive forum. 161 students representing 141 public and private universities nationwide have been invited. The Citizen Engagement and Youth Development Program is to promote active youth inclusiveness in the democratic process. This is in line with the legislative agenda of the 8th House of Representatives. The event will feature seminars, among other activities. Date 9th and 10th of May 2016, time 9 a.m. each day. Venue National Assembly Complex. The platform, facilitated by NILS, is expected to have far-reaching impact on promoting citizen engagement with the legislature. The students will be accommodated at Nikon Luxury Hotel Gariki, Abuja. Arrival date Sunday 8 May 2016. Departure Wednesday 11th May 2016. Each student is required to come along with a letter of introduction from the Vice Chancellor of his or her university. Announcer Dr. Ladi Hamalai, MFR, Director General, NILS.
Guys, I did try remember the code to buy MTN internet bundle.
That one easy now. Make I help you Google the thing. Nah.
Just dial *123#.
I dey use BB now.
Just dial *123#.
If I want change tariff plan, uncle.
Same thing.
Of course. That's why it comes simple.
For faster access to MTN services, just dial *123#.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Does your antiseptic liquid kill the germs that cause flu, diarrhea, typhoid? Dettol does. Dettol provides 10 times more protection versus leading competition. Dettol is the #1 selling antiseptic liquid, proven to protect from up to 100 illness-causing germs. So why take a risk with your loved ones?
Introducing the new Dettol 55-gram soap with the same germ protection and quality at a more affordable price. Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
You're still watching the NTA Network News. The Nigerian Army has inaugurated a 4-member special court-martial for the trial of 2 senior officers. This was at the Army Headquarters Garrison Conference Hall in Abuja. Defense correspondent Muhammad Abdul Kadri reports.
The judge advocate, Colonel Said Musa, and the President's Special Court Marshal, Air Vice Marshal James Boom, alongside 3 other members, all took their oath before settling down for the day's proceedings. The convening order for the court-martial by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, was read by the President.
Defense. Accused persons are entitled to defense counsel of their choice. However, an accused person is to inform the convening authority of his counsel not later than 24 hours before the commencement of the trial.
Part of the administrative instructions contained in the convening order is that the accused senior officers must be certified healthy, physically and mentally fit to stand trials. The lead prosecuting counsel, Lieutenant Colonel Upe, appeared with 5 counsel, while 2 defense counsel appeared for the accused officers preparatory for the commencement of trial. The Special Court Martial will rely on 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, Armed Forces Act, Evidence Act, Military Law, and Rules of Procedure, Army. The prosecuting counsel's prayer for the trial to begin next week was granted by the court. The president of the Special Court Martial assured on speedy dispensation of justice, pointing out that justice delayed is justice denied. From the Army Headquarters Garrison, Abuja, Muhammad Abdul Kadri, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the Christian Association of Nigeria Benue State Chapter has filed a complaint at the National Human Rights Commission over alleged killings by suspected Fulani herdsmen in the state. Receiving the complaint in Abuja, the Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission, Bem Angwe, promised that the commission will carry out an impartial investigation into the matter and ensure that justice prevails.
The National Human Rights Commission of Nigeria condemns in very strong terms the attacks that are today going on in Nigeria between pastoralists and farmers. Those attacks are not only inhuman, but also constitute very grave and serious violations of the rights of all people.
He, however, advised that proactive steps be taken by all to curb the incessant clashes between farmers and herdsmen. The National Logistics Committee for the Distribution of Perishable Items seized by the Nigeria Customs Service, meant for internally displaced persons camps nationwide, as directed by President Muhammadu Buhari has concluded the first phase of its assignment. This follows the flag-off of the exercise at Maiduguri by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Chukwu Buratai. Chukwunonso Umo has the report.
From the various warehouses where the larger part of the relief materials, which include rice, vegetable oil, detergents, sugar, clothing, among other items, were stored for distribution to IDP camps within the state, to this Bakassi camp. The National Committee was satisfied with the job done by the local organizing committee.
All members of the committee are very grateful to the President for giving us the opportunity to undertake this big responsibility.
Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Chukwu Buratai called on public-spirited individuals to complement the federal government's initiative.
The contending aspects of governance for available resources suggest we must look elsewhere to generate the wherewithal to give our affected compatriots a sense of belonging.
Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima and the IDPs expressed gratitude to the federal government at degrading the insurgents.
Since May 2015, a good chunk of the burden has been taken off our shoulders by the federal government that we shall make judicious use of the donation.
This gesture by the federal government underscores its continued commitment towards alleviating the plight of the internally displaced persons, even as the Boko Haram insurgency is finally defeated. From the Bakassi IDP camp, Maiduguri, Chukwunonso Umo, NTA News.
Participants on NTA's current affairs program Moment for Thought are proposing a framework for the development of the Northeast to make it attractive to investors.
The Buhari Action Plan will also be able to stimulate the Northeast economy in a manner that it will trigger rivalry, healthy rivalry.
An examination of the environment. In certain places, water sources have been poisoned. In other places, explosive devices have been hidden or buried, and therefore you cannot ask people to return until that assessment has been done.
The program comes up at 10:30 tonight. Stakeholders in politics in Edo State have agreed to ensure that the September 10 election in the state is used as a model for other states to emulate. This is contained in a communique issued at the end of a one-day security meeting conveyed by the Edo State Police Command. Ugochukwu Ona has the details.
Is the need to avoid the use of hate speeches, misuse of security details assigned to politicians, thuggery, illegal use of firearms before, during, and after electioneering. They are also of the view that to curb violent acts, applications for political rallies and meetings must be made 48 hours before the date of the event. They also agreed that security agencies must be neutral in the discharge of their duties.
Youth leaders of all political parties in Edo State should be assembled profile, warned against allowing themselves to be used to perpetrate violence and mentored in that regard.
The electoral act is very clear about the issue of violence in electioneering. In this state, we should say no to trouble. We should say no to killing each other.
The Commissioner of Police also gives an update on the alleged assassination attempt on the Deputy Governor and the crisis at the House of Assembly.
The eyewitnesses mentioned 1, 2, or 3 names, and that I have directed that those people be sought after. The Inspector General this afternoon has directed that a high-powered team from the 1st CID should come and take over that matter.
In Benin, Ugochukwu Ona, NTA News.
The Bayelsa State Governorship Election Tribunal has continued its sitting at the Court of Appeal Division in Abuja. The All Progressive Congress, APC, and its governorship candidate, Dimitri Silva, are challenging the emergence of Siraki Dixon of the People's Democratic Party as winner of the December 2015 and January 2016 elections. The APC and its candidate presented 7 witnesses who submitted statements which were tendered as exhibits before the tribunal. 4 airline operators and 9 ground handlers participated in the 2016 bid opening at the Nigerian Christian Pilgrimage Commission headquarters in Abuja. Lydia Bassi was there and now reports.
Bidders at the event came from within and outside the country. The Executive Secretary, John Kennedy Okpara, advised bidders to be open-minded and not cut corners, as the Commission will not tolerate such.
At this Commission, we have decided that we have to do what is right. Success demands good spirit, and that's good spirit that inspires us to do what is proper. Aircraft business is a delicate business, because as soon as you are off the ground, you are only in the hand of God.
Members of the National Assembly present commended the bid process.
What else do we need? We need transparency, we need genuity, and we have to accommodate everybody. They've now been able to give room for both Muslims and Christians for them to lift the programs. We've been doing this year by year, and every day and every year you improve, and that's what we've seen today.
This year it was finishing in one day, so fast, so promptly, but this year I think there will be a detailed evaluation as a pre-qualification on the technical side, and any bidder who is going to be qualified will go to the financial section.
The outcome of the bidding is expected to be announced at a later date. In Abuja, Lydia Bassi, NTA News.
And it's time for us to join our Lagos Network Center for contributions from that zone. Abdullahi is our guide tonight. Good evening, Abdullahi.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us here in Lagos. National development can only be achieved if the parameters for rapid economic growth are considered and entrenched in the various key policy reforms of the present administration. This was part of the submissions made by a former Director General of the Infrastructural Concession Regulatory Commission, Mansour Ahmed, when he delivered a lecture on enabling growth, exceeding expectations, in honor of elder statesman and former interim head of state, Chief Ernest Shonekan, who turns 80 on Monday. Becky Badajumo reports.
Keynote speaker Mansour Ahmed stated that infrastructure remains a major catalyst for economic growth. He pointed out that improvement in gross domestic product (GDP) is determined by a corresponding increase in the provision of power, transport and manpower. If these sectors that aid infrastructural development are not facilitated through investments from the public and private sectors, no significant change will reflect in the Nigerian system, and consequently the living standard of the people, which is stated is a benchmark for measuring the growth of any nation.
If the economy is growing appropriately, is growing effectively, then poverty should be reducing almost even at a higher rate.
Reactions to the lecture aligned with the speaker's punchlines.
We must quicken the processes again, and this is again making sure that those agencies which are responsible are well manned.
Though formal, the events did not end without the trappings of a birthday celebration. The celebrants, Chief Ernest Shonekan and wife, cut the cake presented by the organizers. An art exhibition by the Nigerian Arts Group added flavor to the ceremony. In Lagos, Becky Madujemo, NTA News.
The Nigerian Communications Commission has met with stakeholders at a consultative forum to rub minds on the Commission initiative to introduce 38 and 42 spectrum bands and the replanning of 23 gigahertz band. This is expected to improve quality of service and facilitate broadband penetration in the country. Awal Yusujubo was at the forum and now reports.
The introduction of the 38 gigahertz and 42 gigahertz band is in line with the federal government's set target to achieve 30% broadband penetration by the year 2018. The forum, therefore, was to create an avenue for relevant stakeholders and users of telecommunication resources to make inputs to the licensing frameworks proposed for the 38 gigahertz and 42 gigahertz band, as well as the replanning of the 23 gigahertz microwave spectrum band.
The Commission, as a matter of tradition, institutionalized a policy of participatory regulation process.
as well as industry-wide consultation in carrying out its regulatory functions.
We are going to make sure that the frequencies are assigned in a manner that will lessen interferences.
The upgrade, speakers say, will make faster and more affordable access to the network.
To make your backbone more reliable, more resilient, to make also your the access to the network more faster also.
The Commission says it will continue to develop policies and guidelines in conjunction with stakeholders to deliver better quality of experience for all.
We have requested them now to, in writing, send to the Commission their views, their suggestions, which will not be taken into consideration before finalizing the processes for the deployment of these frequencies required to roll out broadband services.
In Lagos, Awal Yusuf Jabo, NTA News.
Network news continues in Abuja with Fumi after this short break. Stay with us, don't go away.
Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
You get three kinds of mums. The paranoid mum, the cautious mum, and the Dettol mum. She only trusts Dettol antiseptic liquid to protect her family from up to 100 illness-causing germs, and it's recommended for cuts and scrapes. Which is why you can worry less and love more. Don't just be any mom, be a Dettol mom.
Introducing the new Dettol 55-gram soap with the same germ protection and quality at a more affordable price. Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 Naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
We must remain steadfast in our commitment to steer this country back to greatness.
He is one of the best brands that we have as a country, and we have to take advantage of that.
Look inwards and see how we be able to enhance our resources.
The problem of Nigeria is man-made. It's just a question of patience and cooperate with the government. Nigeria will go back to those better days.
The man who's leading us, he wouldn't talk much, but he does a lot.
We shall deliver security, jobs, and infrastructure. This is the right of all Nigerians. Our actions will speak for us.
What happened? It was a mosquito. Oh! Oh! Daddy, here!
What's happening here?
Mama, mosquitoes!
I sprayed, but the mosquitoes aren't dying. No longer, because I've bought Protein Power Guard, which kills 100% mosquitoes. Protein Power Guard kills 100% mosquitoes.
Thanks for being there. We begin this segment with business news. National Bureau of Statistics announces drop in the total capital importation into the country. Details of these on our business news segment with Vivian Idepefo.
A warm welcome to the business news segment at this hour. The National Bureau of Statistics, in an executive summary for the first quarter of 2016, has revealed an 89.13% fall in total capital importation into the country. It is the lowest attained since the third quarter of 2014. The total value of capital imported into Nigeria in the quarter under review was $710 million, representing a 54.34% decline since the first quarter of 2015 and a year-on-year decline of 73.79%. The executive summary released Wednesday shows that portfolio investment formed the largest component of capital importation, accounting for $271 million. It was closely followed by other investment, which comprises of loans and other claims, accounting for 37.34% of all capital imported. Foreign direct investment, which is dominated by equities, recorded a quarterly increase from $123 million to $174 million. And still on financial matters, we now take a quick look at the trading figures this Thursday. And that's it on the business news segment. The bulletin continues shortly from here. Good evening.
Many thanks, Vivian. And Port Harcourt is where we go next with Mina as our guide. Good evening, Mina.
Good evening, Fumi. Welcome to Port Harcourt. The Nigerian Air Force says it is working in collaboration with other security agencies in the country to put an end to all forms of security challenges in all parts of the country. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar stated this during the commissioning of some projects at the 97th Special Operations Group of the Nigerian Air Force in Port Harcourt. Emmanuel Lene has a report.
Commissioning the projects, Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar stressed the commitment of the Air Force under its leadership to the welfare of officers and men. Represented by Chief of Administration Air Vice Marshal Ajibola Jikinu noted that over 200 projects are currently ongoing at the various Air Force bases across the country, pointing out the need for the officers to properly maintain the structures.
It's one thing to put accommodation on ground, it's another thing for the occupant to maintain it.
Commanding Officer, 97th Special Operations Group, Nigerian Air Force, Port Harcourt, Air Commodore Charles Owo, who noted the challenges of accommodation to the operations of troops and deployment, commended the Chief of Air Staff for the funding of the projects. Among the projects commissioned by the Chief of Air Staff were 18 one-bedroom flats officers' quarters, 12 one-bedroom flats for senior air officers, and 50,000 liters overhead water tank. In Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
And that's it from Port Harcourt. For me, is back to you for the rest of the news.
Many thanks, Mina. Sokoto State Government and the Bank of Industry have agreed to provide a 2 billion naira loan for the development of small and medium-scale businesses to enhance socio-economic development in the state. This was at the inauguration of the Bank of Industry branch office in Sokoto State by Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila has the details.
The Bank of Industry Nigeria was established with an operational framework that targets project selection and poverty alleviation across the country. With the inauguration of the branch office of the Bank of Industry in Sokoto, people are expected to benefit more from the bank's plan to boost small and medium enterprises. Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, while inaugurating the office in Sokoto and signing the Memorandum of Understanding, said providing the 2 billion naira loan was aimed at boosting small and medium-scale businesses as well as provide employment opportunities in the state. He challenged the prospective beneficiaries to judiciously use the loan to strengthen socio-economic development of the state.
It is our hope that when fully operational, potential investors will have the opportunity to, with vigor, the promotion of public partnership as well as develop small and medium enterprises in the state.
Acting Managing Director of the Bank of Industry, Wahid Olagunju, and signing of the MOU said the bank will provide 1 billion naira, while Sokoto State Government will also provide 1 billion naira and that will be given as a loan.
With BOI's presence in the historic city of Sokoto, we believe that the developmental impact of the bank will be greatly enhanced in support of the real sector, the state government's socio-economic development objectives.
The acting managing director has also called on of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, where they said the bank to come up with programs that will help in addressing the problem of youth and allow them to access the loan easily. In Sokoto, Abrahman Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
And a bit on sports and happenings around the world after this time out.
I take time to make everything look clean.
Yes, but is it really clean? Let me show you. This is why 80% of hygiene-related illnesses are acquired at home. Some cleaners don't kill germs, others kill germs, but don't clean properly. The new Dettol Multi-Surface Cleaner. 10 times better germ kill, 10 times better cleaning, and all-day freshness. 10 times better cleaning and germ kill for a healthy home.
Dettol, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 Naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
And here is Global Tidbits with Talatu Ezurike.
Of Zimbabwe, in a bid to ease cash shortage, has taken steps to print its own version of the US dollar. The country's central bank governor said the cash, known as bond notes, will be backed by $200 million support from the African Export-Import Bank. From Kenya, a woman rescued from a collapsed residential building 5 days after the incident occurred. There are hopes of finding more than 80 other persons still missing. Elsewhere, Brazil top court suspend lower house speaker from office following a request by the country's attorney general. The speaker, high critic of the president, is being accused of trying to obstruct corruption investigation against him and intimidate Congress. Similarly, Turkey's prime minister promises to stand down at an extraordinary Congress of his ruling AK party later this month. And correspondent Joy Osago reports that over 80,000 people, including Nigerians, have been evacuated from Fort McMurray in the province Alberta, Canada, following the outburst of a raging wildfire. That is all on Global Tidbits. Talati Ezurike, NTA News.
Kene Imabudike has the sports update tonight.
The 2016 International Tennis Federation Pro Circuit enters the semi-final stage Friday at the tennis section of the Abuja National Stadium, with top seed David Perez-Sanz of Spain taking on Antal van der Duim of Netherlands. Perez-Sanz defeated Nicolas Schultz of South Africa 7-6, 4-6, 7-6, while Karim Mohamed Mamoun lost in straight sets 6-3, 7-6 to Dutch smasher van der Duim. Nigeria Super Eagles remain 67th in the world and 14th in Africa in the FIFA rankings released for the month of May, Thursday. Nigeria maintains 534 points behind Africa's highest-ranked team, Algeria, on 33rd position, Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. Meanwhile, Argentina remained the world's highest-ranked team, with world champions Germany in 5th position, while the Three Lions of England completes the world's top 10. Real Madrid beat Manchester City 1-0 on aggregate to set up an all-Spanish final in the 2016 UEFA Champions League. A Fernando own goal off a Gareth Bale's deflected shot earned Los Blancos a final ticket against fierce City rivals Atletico, who had beaten German champions Bayern Munich 2-2 on aggregate.
You need a bit of luck in the Champions League semi-finals, which has gone our way. But no, I thought we controlled a lot of the game. We played very good football, very professional job, kept a clean sheet, and ultimately that's why we're in the final.
And a quick check on Friday's weather prospects.
Hello, it's good to know you're there once again. Most parts of the country would experience relative stability